Hey Guardians, welcome to a new series of videos that I'm doing to help new lights get a handle on the world of Destiny. I've been playing this game since the Destiny beta way back in July of 2014, and I love helping people understand what is happening. So if you're a new player to Destiny, please stick around, as I really think that there's info that is important to you, and I've recently gone through the new light starting missions, and I think there's some information that you need before really getting started. If you're a Destiny veteran, you could totally stick around and help me guide these new lights into our ranks to help us protect the system from the forces of the darkness. But first, make sure that you hit the subscribe button if you like this kind of content, and let me know down in the comment section either your best piece of advice or your top question as a new player for Destiny. So what happens when you first log in? Well, first you're going to have to set up a Bungie account and go through all that admin stuff, but you know, it's pretty standard kind of stuff. You just put in your email and you make up a password. Sounds great. Anyway, moving on. First thing that you really need to do is you need to pick your class. You can either pick the Titans, which are capable of taking tons of hits and dishing out a ton of damage right back at their enemies. You can pick the Hunters, which are all about mobility and trying to control their enemies while moving all around them. Or you could pick Warlocks, which are all about space magic, and when you walk into a room, tons of things explode. Then you get to design your character, and then you have an opening cinematic along with this huge long quest that takes about 90 minutes to play. After you're done with that first 90 minutes of gameplay, you'll finally make your way to the tower, which is the home for all Guardians in the system. You're introduced to several major players within the tower by your ghost, and these are all very important, but there are some others that you need to know too. First up, Saint 14 runs our almost weekly event called Trials of Osiris, where 3 teams of Guardians compete against each other with the ability to knock each other out, or even on your own team you can resurrect your Guardians, but the goal is to wipe out the other team as fast as possible 5 different times to win the entire match. Your second most important thing that doesn't get mentioned in the opening quest is to go talk to Cody 5530. He's our postmaster. It's this frame will have everything that you fail to pick up as you go throughout your missions. This is where it all drops, but be careful, you only have about 21 slots available to you, so they do fill up, and if they are full, you start losing stuff. The third one that I want to make sure that you know is Ada 1. She is our transmog vendor, where you have a series of quests that you can choose from to be able to acquire what are called synthweave, and you are able to get another form of currency that allows you to unlock the aesthetics of other armor pieces that you've gotten throughout the game. And then finally there is Soraya Hawthorne, who is the clan representative. Pretty much she just gives you stuff for playing with your clan mates, which is something we'll get to later on in the video. But if you're ready for me to move on and talk about things that you don't know about because you've already played through all of this, go ahead and like this video and leave a Tato down in the comment section telling me to just get on with it. As you may have noticed, Destiny 2 is a free-to-play game with lots of things that you can do and lots of things that are blocked behind a paywall. But just so you know, you can do things that are called ritual activities, which are free to everybody. I'll cover what ritual activities are in my next video, but I just wanted you to know that those do exist. You can follow through all the quests, and they will introduce you to each of the individual ritual activities, and you can enjoy as much free Destiny as you'd like before ever needing to pay anything. However, there is plenty of paid content, and it gets a little messy because the developers want you to be able to pay for what you want instead of a big huge chunk of content, and you never really know everything that you got. Whether they've been successful or not with this is a bit of controversy within the community, but you know, it is what it is. The major piece of content that you can purchase is expansions. You can find these in the store window down at the bottom. These expansions are each major release of Destiny 2. The most recent release is Witch Queen. I certainly suggest picking this up so that way you get right into the major story as it's happening now, and it adds the most current content to the game. After you have played through this and you're like, I kind of like to get some more content, then I would suggest going backwards. Pick up Beyond Light, as this will give you access to Powers of the Darkness, as well as an additional story about what's happening on Europa and how the darkness kind of started coaxing Guardians to its powers. And then after you get done with Beyond Light, then go back another step and do Shadowkeep, as this is kind of a prologue to what the current major story arc in Destiny is. The expansions usually come with their own in-game content in the shape of raids, dungeons, and exotic quests that are, really easy to fill up your time with. Once you're done looking at the expansions, you'll also notice that there is seasonal content. This content comes out about every 3 months and tells a smaller form story compared to what the expansions do. Usually these contain some sort of seasonal activity and a fresh pool of loot. Most of the content within a season is free, but there is paid content that can be found mostly on the season pass, but there is other content kind of floating around. Seasonal activities do tend to stick around between major releases, so they will go away once a new expansion comes out. The Battleground Psyops that you'll notice in the helm are from the last season, Season of the Risen, while currently the Nightmare Containment is from this season, Season of the Haunted. You can help me by leaving a like and commenting on this video and subscribing to the channel. I stream Destiny every Friday, where I'd love to help you out with the game personally, and Sundays I add some variety to the channel. There's also a backlog of plenty of videos of me trying to figure out what I'm doing here on YouTube. The final bit of information that I want to make sure that you get in this video is on the character screen. So when you first pull this up, you'll notice that there is a bunch of different information here for you to look at and kind of understand. Each class has access to different elements, giving them their own abilities. These elements are Void, Solar, Arc, and Stasis if you get Beyond Light. Each one of these class elements give you its own unique set of abilities. With the exception of the Arc class at the recording of this video, the abilities are broken up in a menu like this, where you will see your super abilities that you can choose from for each class if there are multiple options. You can pick between various grenade types for your character to have. You can choose your melee ability as you unlock them. You can choose your class ability, which for Titans is some sort of barrier. Hunters have a dodge ability, and Warlocks get a rift that will either heal or empower whoever is sitting inside of it. After that, you have what are called aspects and fragments. Aspects are the pieces that are individual to your class. For each different element, you have a different set of aspects that are available to you. Each one of them gives your class its own specific set of abilities that you can use either against your foes or in battle against other Guardians. Then you can further refine your class and make it more custom to how you want to play through fragments. Each of the fragments are shared by all of the classes, so you will notice that they all have the same sort of features if you choose to play multiple characters. On the left-hand side of your character screen, you will notice that you've got all of these different icons. The first three are your various weapon slots. The top one is your kinetic or stasis slot. Your middle one is an arc, void, or solar weapon. And then the bottom slot is your power weapon that is usually designed to do a ton of damage and could be any four of the elemental types. I'll cover more about weapons in a later video, but I just wanted to point them out because they're on the character screen. On the right hand side, you have the top 5 slots are your armor slots. Each of these will give you some sort of ability boost or some other stat, and there's tons of modification that can happen. I will cover armor again in a later video, but I want to point these out to you because they're on the character screen. In both cases, the weapon slots and the armor slots, you can choose to equip any item that you want that fits in those locations. However, I will point out that each of the weapons and the armor, you have the option to add exotic items. For weapons, you can only carry one exotic item at a time, and for armor, you can only have one exotic armor piece at a time. So make sure that you choose these well when you're trying to figure out how to build the character you want. The final thing that I'll mention on the character screen is the stats. They are found right below your power level, and they are in order: mobility, resilience, recovery, discipline, intellect, and strength. The benefits to these is mobility is kind of how fast your character can move. If you are playing a hunter, this stat specifically helps your regeneration of your class ability. Resilience, it helps determine how much damage you can take before you ultimately die. This stat, it helps Titans regenerate their class ability. And then recovery is your ability to heal once you've stopped taking damage. And this ability, or this stat, helps the warlock ability regenerate. Then after that, you have discipline, which is a boost to your ability to regenerate your grenade. Intellect is your ability to regenerate your super move. And then strength is your ability to regenerate your melee attack. Well, that's all I have for you in this video, New Lights. Please make sure that you do all the things I've been annoying you about. Make sure you leave a comment down below letting me know if you have any further questions that you want me to make sure that I answer in future videos. I certainly want to make sure that everybody is learned and ready to go before they try to venture out into the world all on their own. Once again, make sure that you subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you know when the next video goes live and when I am streaming on YouTube. And after all of that, I will see you Guardians in the next video.